artist. Today I'm in a magical place, one of the most important temples of whole Japan and Kyoto. I will tell you the whole story about it and I will draw some sketches for you. I will see if we can make it into art. The Gates of Torii, Japanese iconic symbol of spiritual journey. To paint this artwork, we're going to need a pencil, eraser, ruler, black gel pen, tubes of watercolor, brushes and water, paper towel to dry brushes, and black marker. Let's take a ruler and a pencil and draw two lines parallel to each other. We're going to go a little bit lower from the center of your paper and we'll draw another pair of lines. Japanese designs are all about proportions and details. Now let's draw legs of Torii. We're going to make two parallel pairs of lines on the right, on the left side. Don't try to make anything perfect. We're just enjoying the process and learning how to draw something Japanese. Time for roof. We're going to make two short lines on each side, a little diagonal, and we will connect them with a smiley face line, bended, long line. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can use a razor if you want, or just make a couple lines, one on the top of another one, and once you're happy, you will erase the one that you don't need anymore. Then we're drawing a little square under the roof, and we will finish the middle part of the Torii, adding some details, like little corners. They look like a dragon teeth to me. What does it look to you? With the repetition of a short vertical lines on the top of the roof of Torii, we create a feeling of texture. Let's draw some lines for the background. We're going to separate first sky from the trees. And I'm using my pencil with like a shaking kind of movement hand, drawing light line, a little bit diagonal. Then I will add some bushes in between the legs of the Torii and on each side. You can repeat with me, do what I do if you feel comfortable, or you can create your own textures. The important part is to draw the bended path. That will make the feeling of perspective when you're drawing. The very first shrine on this mountain was built all the way back in the year 711. That's over 1300 years ago. It was built long before the cars, planes, or even electricity existed, back when Japan was a land of ancient emperors. People believed that a spirit named Inari came to the mountain to help the rice grow. To welcome the spirit, they built the very first wooden gates. Since then, people have been adding more and more gates every single year. Before we go with the paint, I would suggest you to use your eraser and remove all the lines that you don't want anymore. You can also trace your Torii just to make it brighter before you go with the color. Think of this gate as a giant wooden brush stroke on the side of the mountain. By sketching these lines today, you're adding your own story to the masterpiece that has been growing for over 1,000 years. Now let's talk about the amazing color. This isn't just orange or red, it's a special shade called vermilion. For over 1,000 years, Japanese artists have used this color because they believed it was filled with the power of sun. Time to paint! Let's grab your tubes and squeeze a little bit of your watercolor on your plate or palette. Absolutely must do the ochre color. That's gonna make your greens looking realistically warm. Some yellow to make it brighter. Light blue and dark blue depends on your mood for the sky. And vermilion. If you don't have vermilion, grab any red you have and we're going to Mix it with some yellow to create this bright orangey red color. We are working on a wet on wet technique, so we're adding water into our watercolor and on the paper before we start applying any color. Remember that your paint is very wet, so you want to do it in parts. First you're going to do the sky, you add water, and then you add color. And then you're going to add water again to the trees and bushes, leaving a little bit of space between the sky and the trees. You don't want your green get blended with blue sky. You want to leave some space, like an air on the paper. Now it's very important how you apply the paint. You don't want it to look flat like a coloring book. You're doing watercolor painting. As you see, my hand is barely touching paint sometimes it's pressing a little more. Sometimes I use only the tip of my brush and my movements are shaking and kind of circular, like leaves. I'm trying to create this textured greenery. While you're painting, make sure that you're taking care of amount of water in your paint. You don't want it to be too watery, you don't want it to be wet enough to get blended, and also make sure that you alternate the hues and colors and your green looks very vivid. Every time you reach to the new part of your drawing in the background, make sure that you're adding a little bit of gold or yellow or even blue to create completely different hue of green. By mixing these different hues, some yellowish and bright, some bluish and deep, you give your forest depth. It makes it look like there are layers and layers of trees stretching far back into mountains behind the Fushimi Inari Gate. Have you noticed how our painting is looking so lush? There is a special secret about the forests in Kyoto. In many parts of the world, trees lose their leaves and turn brown in winter. But in Kyoto, mountains stay beautiful, deep green all year round. Now let's work on the path leading through the gate. In Japan, these paths are often made of small stones or packed earth. By mixing your brown and gray light on paper, you create a natural, rocky texture. It's not just a flat road, it's a living trail that invites everyone to take a walk into the heart of Kyoto. Once your background is done, you probably can work on the details of your torii. We'll start with black color and a thin brush. I started with the corners and little details all around. I traced the black part of it, and then I changed the brush for the bigger one. It saved the time. Now we're changing our technique. To get that powerful glowing vermilion, we're switching to wet on dry. This means we're putting our wet paint onto dry paper, because we want this color to be as bright as solid, as a superhero cape. We actually worked the same technique with the black color, because we don't want it to be transparent kind of gray. We want it really solid and heavy black. You're free here to change the brush for a tiny one, because you want to work through the little details on every corner of your torii gate so it looks nice and pretty and clean. We almost finished our artwork, and when your watercolor is completely dry, you can take your marker or gel pen and trace every single detail of your painting, from the torii gate to the background. Time for a very special detail inside of that small squared hanging plate on our gate. We are tracing the word Japan using Japanese characters. In Japan, this little sign is called as gakuzuka, and it's like a name tag on the gate. As you trace with a marker, look at the corners where the beams meet. Adding a little extra weight with your lines here makes the gate look heavier and ancient. Because Kyoto is surrounded by mountains and it was kept safe for so long, it is like a living museum. When you draw this gate, you are drawing a piece of a city that has spent centuries perfecting the art of beauty and peace. Let's use our marker as well on the background. We're going to start by the edges of the trees, using a thick dancing lines to pull out some branches. It is like the trees are reaching out to say hello to our orange gate. Our forest is full of life, so let's add some detail to the bushes and the ground. With your marker you can draw some tufts of grass or even tiny delicate flowers peeking out from the shadows. The small details make our painting feel like real. As we put the final touches on our masterpiece, I want to tell you a secret that every great artist knows. The most important tool you have, it's not your brush or your marker, it's your self-confidence. Sometimes your hand might go in a direction you didn't plan. In Japan, there's a beautiful idea that there is no mistakes, only happy surprises. So trust your hands. They have been watching you learn and they know exactly how to tell your unique story. Think of your hand like a brave explorer. It is okay to feel like nervous sometimes, but remember, only you can make the marks you're making today. No one else in the world draw a line exactly like you do, and that's what makes your art a treasure. So let's take a deep breath. Take a look at your beautiful Fushimi Inari gate and give yourself a huge smile. When you trust your hands and believe in your own magic, your artwork glows brighter than any vermilion paint can ever could. Congratulations, my amazing artist! Today you stepped through the sacred gates and built a path of beauty with your own hands. I am so proud of the magic you created. Well, sayonara, and I'll see you at our next stop on Art Voyage.